Okay, so joining me today is Marty McMurray Blankenship, and this month is a very special month because it is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So, first off, Marty, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, of course. So, again, like I mentioned, September Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So, could you just kind of tell me a little bit why this month is so important to you?
When I was 15 years old, I was diagnosed with stage 3 liver cancer, went through treatment. I was in remission, and then 8 months later, it came back to stage 4. So I've been cancer-free ever since July 2011, and I've been healthy ever since.
Yeah, and something that I really want to touch on too is, July, September, and even October are so, they're such significant months for you. But could we kind of go back a little bit when you first found out you were diagnosed? What symptom did you have? What led you to go to the hospital in the first place?
Yeah, so my symptoms actually started in September. I was just having chest pain, and I didn't really think anything of it. I did end up staying home from school, which I never did. So I stayed home from school. The next day, woke up, the chest pain was better,
Hmm.
but the pain had moved from my chest to my right side where my liver is.
Yeah.
And I tried to tough it out. I went to school. I had band first period, but
Hmm.
before first period even started, I ended up collapsing on the floor and was sent home. When my dad came home from work, he knew that something was wrong because I'm not a crier, and I went to the doctor. I think it was like a Care Now, and they did a scan. They said, we can't tell exactly what it is, but there's definitely something in your liver. They sent me to the hospital, and after biopsies and tests, about 3 weeks later is when I was diagnosed with stage 3 liver cancer.
Yeah, and then can we just kind of talk about let me just say, first of all, you are just a superhero. I was so excited to get in touch with you to do this interview. So I think maybe I'm a bit emotional too. But I'm just so proud of you to see how much you have overcome. I think sometimes, people go through things like that and it's so
Mhm.
easy to lose hope, but for you to be such a fighter and then for it to come back and then you're a fighter again. I mean, it's
Mhm.
incredible. So could you just kind of tell me the feeling that you had when you were going through that treatment?
Yeah, so um when I was first diagnosed, I guess it really just never hit me. I didn't cry. I wasn't really scared.
Mm.
When I started treatment, it was painful. I wasn't really able to eat. I had sores in my mouth. I lost a bunch of weight, lost my hair, of course, and I think I had treatment 4 days a week, and then I think I went every other week to the hospital for treatment. So not a fun time, but just tried to stay as positive as I could, and of course had a great support system, so that made it a lot easier.
Yeah, and so for parents who are going through what you went through with their own kids, what advice do you have not only for parents but for those kids as well?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just for the kids, like I always try and say just find the humor in everything. I tried to laugh my way through everything. Of course, shaving your head it can be emotional, especially for a girl, and for a girl who's a teenager and feels like their hair is very significant to who they are. I laughed all the way through shaving my head. It was just it was a weird feeling.
Mhm.
So really just trying to find something to laugh at, your favorite TV show, joking around with your family, your friends, trying to stay, I guess, really as normal as possible. And then, yeah, just for the parents, just taking care of yourselves, really.
Mhm. And another thing that I want to touch on, what advice would you give yourself, the 30-year-old Marty now? What advice do you give that 15-year-old girl when you first heard that you were diagnosed?
Oh, goodness. I think the advice I would give now is don't get so caught up on what people are going to think of me. When I shaved my head, I was so worried about being bald.
Yeah.
And do I wear a wig? Do I wear a hat? And I did wear both because I was so scared. And I feel like now, if I could go back, that would be really one of the only things I would change. Honestly, it's just embracing it, really,
Oh,
just letting it be.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful because I think and that's such good advice too, because I think like you said, so many young girls, they have to shave their hair or they just start to lose their hair and they
Hmm.
start to feel so lost. And it's like, despite you being diagnosed with cancer and having to deal with that in itself, you're so worried about your image because in the society that we live in, image and hair and clothes and all that, it's everything. So I
Hmm.
love that advice that you give about just embracing your, bald head. So could you just kind of tell us a little bit about what you're doing now to really bring awareness to childhood cancer?
Yeah, so now I volunteer each summer at a camp called Camp Dreamcatcher, and that is based out of Temple, Texas at Baylor Scott and White.
Mhm,
And it's just a week-long camp where kids just can just be kids. You don't have to worry about treatment and the medications, that they take in the hospital. We have doctors and nurses at the camp participating in everything that the kids get to do, like zip lining and horseback riding and swimming. I mean, just kids seeing their smiles and being with, other peers that are going through the same thing, but just really embracing just being a kid for a week. It's just a beautiful thing to see.
yeah. Yeah, and I kind of just wanted to go back a little bit when you said you were diagnosed again, you had relapse.
Mhm.
What is even going through your mind at a time like that? You already beat it once and now you have to go through this whole journey, which I can't even imagine. You have to re-go through this journey again. What was going through your head?
Yeah, that time was a little more difficult. I had moved away from my hometown in Texarkana. I'd moved to Killeen, Texas with my mom, and I had just started dating my boyfriend at the time, Zach. We were only dating a month when I relapsed. And so I was scared because I knew I'm going to lose my hair again. I'm going to have to shave it.
Mhm,
I'm going to go through treatment and feel sick, probably not, get to go to school, which I enjoyed school and being involved in dance.
mhm,
Um, so it did affect me in a different way, more emotionally and definitely physically. I felt more sick. The chemo was a lot harsher on my body than the first round, but I was scared, but I again had a good support system to help me get through it.
yeah, and then you said that the second time was stage 4, correct? So,
Right. Yes.
I mean, aside from your whether it was your faith, your family, like, I mean, I'm trying to dig deep here of, like, how did you continue to go through that when someone tells you you have stage 4 cancer and you're still a child, a minor, you're trying to wrap your head around I love school. This is what and your boyfriend who is now your husband. Um,
Mhm.
well, I mean, how do you wake up and go throughout your day every day knowing that you're a young child with stage 4 cancer?
I think just my mindset, really just all growing up, is you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
And I think that really helped me get through it is I have no choice. If I want to be here, then I have to do it. And, whether it's fun or not, you just suck it up, you go through it, and, you move on. And that's exactly what I did.
You're just a whole hero to me, and I really do mean that, Marty, because prior to this interview, I was just so, like, a bit anxious, but anxious in a good way because when I interview people like yourself, I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes and trying to really imagine if it was me. But more so, just what advice do you give other people? Because I mean, I would, because you and I have known each other for many, many years, and
Yeah.
even through that time, I'm like, she is. I mean, like you said, you're doing it. This is what the cards you were dealt at that time, and you just got to do it. And now to see here, you are healthy is such a blessing. I'm so grateful. I'm trying not to get emotional, but
Thank you.
just kind of update us on your health now. How are you doing? Doctor's appointments, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I was told a couple years ago that I didn't have to have yearly appointments anymore, but just for my
Good.
own peace of mind, I was like, no, let's just continue with the yearly scans, just for a peace of mind, because every time September rolls around, I start having, I don't know even really what it's called, pseudo symptoms. They're not really like, it's not true pain, but I feel pain in my side, even though there is nothing there. Every time I have a scan around the same year, September, October timeframe, there's never my scans are clear, but I just have very similar pain, and it's almost every single year around that time. So just for me to just feel better, I have, the scans, and I don't know. I just feel like if I want to be able to be there for my family and not get so caught up in the negative and, oh my gosh, what if it's back? I feel like I have to do what I have to do. And yeah, yearly scans, I'm going to keep it up until I feel like I don't no longer need them.
Yeah. Yeah. And then lastly, what message do you want to send to those, your family, friends, especially who support you throughout that entire process? And even people, when they found out you were diagnosed, people that you didn't even know, so many people were praying for you. And I just remember, even in high school, just so many people just keeping you in their prayers always. So what message do you have for your friends and family who did support you during that time?
Oh my gosh, that really got me through. Like you said, I didn't know a lot of the people, but they knew of me and they were praying for me, and just keeping me in their thoughts. And that really that really means a lot to me, and I cannot thank you enough for just your support, and being there for me at a distance, and thinking of me and my family and supporting any way you can. It's so beautiful
Yeah.
how something so negative and bad really can bring people together and make it into something beautiful. And I did lose some friends, but I gained so many more people in my life. And honestly, I wouldn't change anything really, other than the fact that not being so upset and losing my hair. But the experience and going through cancer, I really wouldn't take it back, because it really has shaped me to be, the person that I am today. So thank you to everybody who, were there for me and prayed for me. It truly, from me and my family, like, it means a lot, and we appreciate your support.
Well, Marty, thank you so much for joining me today and agreeing to do this interview, because I know I hit you up with this crazy idea and you're like, yeah, I'll do it. So I really appreciate you for taking time out to speak to me. And so many of us
Yeah.
will still continue to pray for you and always wish you well and a healthy, long, long life. And when you're, 80 and I'm 80 and I'm still in this business, I'm gonna be like, Marty, we need to do another update story. So thank you so much, Marty, for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for asking. It was great.